Hey guys, welcome to another speed build. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we're over in Mt Komorebi and I am building a family home for a family of 6. It ended up being 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and we are building here on the 30 by 20 lot over in like the main town of Mt Komorebi. You can see the actual name of the lot over in the left hand corner, and I cannot remember this family's name for the life of me, but you can see them standing out in the front. I want to say like Akiyama or something, and I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I'm sure you guys know exactly who I'm talking about since they are right there, right in the front. I absolutely love this lot. I have to say this is probably my favorite lot to build on in Mt Komorebi, and so it just calls for me to demolish their house and build my own. Their house that is automatically here by default, honestly, I think looks so good. I really love their house. That is just a default Maxis house. Well, actually it was built by an EA network creator. I'm pretty sure it was Simlicy that built this one, and she is just a fantastic builder. And so it comes with the territory. It's not surprising that the house she built for this pack was just so beautiful. This house, I guess, is a little bit inspired by the house she built, but it's not exactly the same whatsoever. It has my own flair to it, for sure. And so yeah, it's been such a long time since I've built in Mt Komorebi, and I've been wanting to build here. I just have been waiting until I was really in the mood to do it, and well, over the weekend I was in the mood. And so I ended up building this for you guys. I really hope you enjoy it. Of course, if you do, please do not forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already. Comment down below whatever it is you would like to comment, and also share it with your friends if they're simmers as well. Each and every one of those things helps my channel out tremendously. It helps the algorithm push my video out to other simmers, and I just appreciate you guys so much, more than you would ever know, to be completely honest. I just am so speechless when it comes to thanking you guys, because I am just so thankful, and words just cannot describe it. Not words I can think of anyways. Okay, with all of that being said, let's go ahead and talk about today's build a little bit. Like I was saying, it's a little bit inspired by the house that was already here, that I already demolished, but with my own flair to it. I really love to do this design with the windows, specifically what I did on the bottom story. I have the big square window in the middle, and then on both sides I add like the paneled window that you cannot see through. I just feel like it adds like a really good detail. It almost makes it look like shutters, but not really. And I do end up moving the flower boxes completely under the paneled windows as well. I kind of at first put it under the open square windows, but I really don't like the look of it. It looks like it's not complete. And so I do end up adding it under the whole window there on the bottom story. And then on the top story, I added just the regular paneled windows that you can see through, and then I put the actual shutters on each side. I did size down the shutters because the shutters that come with Snowy Escape for some reason are like so large. They are so large, way too large for my liking, and so I never use them. But since we're building in Mt Komorebi, I really want it to match the world. That's really important for me when I do build in any world. It doesn't matter where it is. Very seldomly will I build a house that doesn't match the world at all. Most of the time I definitely make it match, and this build was no different. So I figured, since we are building here in Mt Komorebi, let's just take this opportunity to go ahead and use these shutters that I absolutely despise. I just don't like these shutters at all. They look a lot better with the way that I did them though. I sized them down and I used the Alt key to place them freely. The Alt key is my best friend when building a house here in The Sims. I cannot build without the Alt key, and I also cannot build without the F5 key. So if you do not know, the F5 key, when you press it, you are able to place objects in between, like every half tile you can place an object. Usually if you have it just default the way it is, then you are only able to place objects on each tile. And then if you enable the F5 key, then it allows you to place it on every half tile. Well, if you still have to place an object in between the half tile, your best friend, just like me, is going to be the Alt key, and that is going to let you completely place it freely wherever you want it to go. It's like seamlessly placing an object, and I absolutely love the Alt key. I cannot build without it. I can't stress that enough. It's just like my best friend. I would be lost without it. That was like one of my favorite things when I switched from like The Sims 2 and The Sims 3 to, well, listen, I've said this before, I didn't really play The Sims 3 that often. I played it seldomly while growing up, but my all-time favorite has always been The Sims 2. I grew up on it. I was a teenager playing it in high school, even though The Sims 3 was out. I just never liked The Sims 3 as much as I liked The Sims 2. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it is what it is. So when I switched from building in The Sims 2, which I was completely so horrible at, and I went to The Sims 4, and I was, watching all these speed builds and watching Lil Simsy with her building Bible and her tips and tricks. That's really who I learned to build from. Believe it or not, we have a lot of the same similarities in our builds, so it kind of probably makes a lot of sense, but she has so many good videos. I learned how to place objects using only the Alt key, and so I haven't been able to not use it since then, and that is why I love building in The Sims 4 so much better than The Sims 2 and even in The Sims 3. I'm just not so good at those two games. I do want to do a video some point in time of building the same house in all 3 or maybe all 4 Sims games, because I own the very first Sims game too, which has a nostalgic place in my heart, but it's not, even on the list of my favorites. I even like The Sims 3 better than the first Sims game. The first Sims game has a special place because it's the first one, but it's not that good to me, honestly. It's really not. I'm sorry. It is what it is. That's my opinion. I remember being a kid and my parents, we had 3 of us growing up. We didn't have a whole lot. And so my best friend growing up, she always had like the best of everything. And so I went over to her house and played Sims 2 like every weekend. We were inseparable as kids. And I absolutely loved The Sims 2. And then I go back home and we had like this old laptop. And keep in mind that this was the early 2000s when I was a kid, and so to be old then, this was probably a laptop from the early 90s, late 80s, so you can imagine how big and boxy and old this thing was. And I had to play The Sims 1 on it, and it just wasn't the same, so maybe that is what started my, not really hatred, but my unliking of the first Sims game. Is because I had to play it as a kid when I really just wanted to play The Sims 2. But anyways, I'm getting off topic here. I tend to do this a lot, guys. I'm so sorry. I can't help myself. We are pretty much getting the outside done. We are pretty far along in it. So I have a privacy fence in the back. I decided to use the base game one. I really wanted to use the opportunity to use the one that came with Snowy Escape because I actually really like it, but it doesn't come with a gate. And that irks me so much. Like, why add a privacy fence that doesn't have a gate to it? And for some reason, this shorter gate that I used here in the front, or the shorter fence, I always say gate when I really mean fence. I even do that in real life. It drives my husband crazy. I'm like, you know what I mean. The shorter fence here in the front comes with a gate, but the privacy fence doesn't. Can you please explain the logic of that to me? There is no logic to that. Not in my opinion. I feel like the privacy fence should have a gate over the short, non-privacy fence. It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But this is The Sims and a lot doesn't make sense. But that's okay. That's one of the reasons why I love it so much. It's just so quirky and just doesn't make a lot of sense. And, it kind of reminds me of myself. I have quite a bit of sidewalk throughout this build. So I really liked how the original one didn't have a lot of grass and it had mainly like gravel and sidewalk throughout it. And so I kind of mimicked that with my build, but I have a little bit more grass. I wanted at least a little bit. And so here in the front corner, I have a little bit, and then I have like a gravel little pathway leading to the side of the lot. I just felt like that patch of grass was a little bit out of place. And so I really wanted to add something to make it a little bit more detailed and not so just green and grass-like, but still with grass. I know that doesn't make sense, but you guys probably know what I'm trying to say. And so I really like the detail of having the little path there, and then I have a tree on one side, and then I have a lot of these hedgerow bushes with these hedgerow flower bushes all throughout the lot, like completely surrounding the house and pretty much outlining the whole lot in the front too, right in front of the short fence and the privacy fence in the back. I really like the combination of the hedgerow bushes with these flower bushes. I just think it looks so good. And I am not using just Snowy Escape in this build whatsoever. You've probably noticed that already. So I have Adventure Awaits installed. I have pretty much every single expansion pack installed at this time, plus Parenthood, I believe. For sure, every single expansion pack and none of the other packs besides maybe Parenthood. And so I had to take the opportunity once again to not only use the water slide that I love so much, but also the modular playground. And I actually used the one with the staircase and the slides, and then I just put some monkey bars in front of it too. And so that is actually going to be usable for pretty much children of all ages. Besides infants, they cannot climb stairs, but toddlers, they can climb stairs. Children, of course, they can, and then teenagers, they can actually play on it too, if I'm not mistaken. I think they pretty much only play on it if kids are playing on it, same with adults, but I really love the fact that pretty much Sims of all ages, they can make use out of the modular playground, especially toddlers. Toddlers have been lacking in certain things, especially like playground equipment. I know in toddler stuff they have slides and stuff, but if you don't have the toddler stuff pack, then you have literally no playground equipment that a toddler can use, because I don't think they can use like the pirate ships that are for children. I don't think toddlers can actually use those, and so I love the fact that the Sims team made the modular playgrounds functional for toddlers. It's just such a small thing that goes such a long way. I just really love that. And with that being said, there's not a single toddler in this house. I did not add a toddler, but there are 2 children, 1 teenager, and 1 infant. So the infant, once they age up to a toddler, they'll be able to use that modular playground. I don't believe infants can. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I would honestly be very surprised if infants can climb up those stairs. I really would be surprised. This leads me to wonder though, if you have growing together, are your Sims able to put the infant in the little back carrier and then still play with their child on the modular playgrounds? I'm really curious about that. If they're able to do that, that would 1, be amazing, 2, be such a good addition to the game that makes it playable for infants in a way. I mean, they can't actually go up there themselves, but they're at least, going with their parent. They can enjoy it some type of way. And so, yeah, I really hope they made it like that, but I guess I need to go in game and find out. But other than those 2 things outside, I of course did the water slide like I already mentioned, and I also added a couple of like pool floaties in the pool. I love those pool floaties. They're so cute, especially for family builds. And behind the pool where I put the bushes, those hedgerow bushes, I used the ones with the fairy lights on there. So all of the hedgerow bushes around the house are just the regular ones, but I really love to add the ones that has the fairy lights right by like the pool area or the patio. If you don't have a pool area, just wherever the Sims hang out in the backyard, I think it's perfect to have them right by their little hangout area. It's just so pretty at night. And Looking at the kitchen, the way I'm doing the kitchen, and the window right there facing the pool is like the perfect place. Your Sim will be able to sit there or stand there and wash dishes and watch their children playing out in the pool. It's like the perfect setup. I really, really love that. It gives such a good view looking out of the back window. And so yeah, I just really, really love that. And then I of course added a grill outside and a patio table with that really, really pretty umbrella that I came across a couple of builds ago, and I took note that it was Snowy Escape, and so when I built this, I'm like, I have to add that. And it took me a minute to find it. I had to like filter out using only Snowy Escape in the filter. And then I had to go through every single object in Snowy Escape to find that. I really don't know what category it belongs in because I looked at sculptures, I looked at like outdoor sculptures, indoor sculptures, miscellaneous decoration. Maybe that's where I found it. I found it somewhere that honestly didn't make sense to me. It also might be one of those objects that does not show up in the catalog for whatever reason, and you have to actually like go into the pack itself and look at every single object. Some of the objects in the game does that. It's like a bug that they say they fixed, but no, they definitely didn't. I have found that in the case of base game and several of the other packs too. And that umbrella from Snowy Escape was honestly one of them, at least for me in my game. And so yeah, but I found it, and that's all that matters. And so we are working on the kitchen now. I do want to mention that I was able to use that archway that came with Snowy Escape that has those paneled window sort of things on each side of the arch itself, and I absolutely love that archway. I knew, as soon as I knew that I wanted to build in Snowy Escape and I was building the floor plan, I kept note in my mind to make sure that I did the living room and kitchen / dining room pretty much right next to each other and have a long enough wall to be able to place that archway, because I absolutely love the way it looks. I think it looks so pretty, and it really, really fits a build like this here at Snowy Escape. And so it fit perfectly, just like I wanted it to, right there in between the living room and dining room. And I of course am using the table, like the hot pot table where your Sims actually sit down like on their bottoms on the floor, and they sit like crisscross applesauce. Yes, I'm a child. I still say crisscross applesauce. Thank you. And then I put the hot pot on top of it. I love that teapot stand there too, like the tea hutch. You guys know what I mean, right there by the hot pot table. I think that is so pretty. I love that thing. I use it as often as I can if it fits. It's so big and so bulky. I also love the other tea table or tea end table, or the other end table that comes with Snowy Escape that kind of matches that one, but it's even bigger and even more bulky. I just didn't have any good place to put it, so I ended up not using it in this build, unfortunately, but I would have loved to have used it. And in the kitchen, I did a square island. You'll see me here shortly playtest that and have my Sim cook something. And at first, she was not able to use the fridge or the oven because of the island in the center, which honestly actually surprised me. So I kept the island exactly how it is, but I ended up moving it in towards each other, so it's kind of clipping into each other, but not so much where it flickers. I hate the flickering. When I'm building and I see a flicker, I will do whatever I can to make sure it doesn't flicker. Sometimes I'll act like I don't see it, and that's because I'm being too lazy. But most of the time, I try and make sure it doesn't flicker because it's just so annoying when building, and so it's even more annoying when playing and seeing the flicker. It's like your eyes go straight to it. It's too much of a distraction in my opinion. And so yeah, I made sure that the island does not flicker even though it's clipped in with each other, and same with the counters right next to the oven. You probably noticed I put the connectable upper cabinet that connects to the lower cabinet right next to the oven, and The kitchen at first was up on a platform, but then I ended up putting it down the platform, right? It's pretty much cut off between the dining room and the kitchen, and I ended up putting the platform there so that the kitchen is on ground level so that it didn't have that flicker because the upper cabinet was clipping into the lower cabinet. Moral of the story, that's why I ended up making that platform right there instead of where I originally had it, which was by the back door. Plus, I think it looks a lot better the way I have it here anyways. It gives so much more dimension, and it's not just a big open space between the dining room and the kitchen. I also think that little bonsai tree that I have on that tea hutch is so pretty. I love that bonsai tree. There's like a cherry blossom one, there's a regular one, there's like a white cherry blossom one, and it's just so pretty. And this pack also came with that little like orchid in a bowl, and I put that on top of the island, like in the center as a centerpiece, and I absolutely love that little orchid too. I think it's so pretty. Snowy Escape actually came with a lot of good building items, but I do have to say that the way that I furnished this house is not my favorite furnishings throughout a house that I've done. I do have to admit that I am not a huge fan on the way that I did, especially the living room and especially the master bedroom too. You'll probably see what I mean. I hope you guys like it. But there's just something off about this living room and especially the master bedroom. I have a little playpen here downstairs. The playpen slash crib, I always call it a playpen, but it's a crib, because there is an infant and I just love to add it in the living room when I have an infant upstairs so that you have a separate sleeping area for the infant down here too, so that they have a close place to take a nap and you don't have to have your Sam run up and downstairs like every 2 hours bringing the infant from upstairs to downstairs. I say that pretty much every build because I always put the crib downstairs and upstairs, but I just like to mention it just in case I have new viewers and they're wondering, why in the world do you have a crib downstairs? Well, now you know. It just makes it easier, and I think it gives a realistic touch too. It just makes it look like this is actually a house for families, and I really love that. And I also end up putting a playmat down here as well in the living room for the infants so that you can place the infant in the playmat and they can just sit there and work on their motor skills and stuff like that. But yeah, like I was saying, it's like the layout of this living room is not the best. I do have a computer. It's very functional, okay? It might not be the best layout ever, but it's very functional. Your Sims can get to everything they need to get to. There's a computer, there's a TV, there's a fireplace, and that fireplace is so pretty. I feel like it doesn't match a lot of things. Like this house is one of them, but I used it anyways. Since this is a Snowy Escape build, I am going to use as many Snowy Escape items as possible. And here is what I meant about my Sim not being able to use the fridge. So I just barely shifted the island counters inward into each other. And so that made it to where your Sim was able to get to the fridge and completely serve a meal. Sometimes I add way too many decorations on the countertops in the kitchen and your Sim cannot actually cut on a cutting board, and so it makes it non-functional at that point. And so I really try to remember, guys, to make my Sim do a full meal, and certain meals you have to use a cutting board and certain ones you don't. So I try to remember which meals I need to do, and the samosa soup is like one of the ones that is like perfect. You have to use a cutting board and then you go over and use the stove, and so that is like my go-to recipe when I'm playtesting to make sure my Sim is actually able to do a full meal, and my Sim was in fact able to do a full meal, and so that is perfect. I also think that the samosa soup just sounds delicious. I actually just recently, maybe about a year ago, discovered Indian food. Like, I always knew about it, don't get me wrong, I always knew it existed, I just never tried it. My husband is a very picky eater and he just likes basic stuff like a child, okay? Just think about what a child would like, that's what he likes. And so I don't really, when we're eating together, we don't go to places like Indian food, Chinese food. I love Chinese food, love Mexican food, love Indian food, love all of that. He just likes chicken tenders and hamburgers and hot dogs and pizza, okay? He's like a child. And so I waited until he was out of town, because he does work out of town every so often. And that is when I ordered myself some Indian food, and I tried chicken tikka masala is what I tried. And it was absolutely delicious. That with some garlic naan is like just out of this world. So good. And I love the samosas too. So a samosa soup sounds delicious. I love chicken tikka masala so much that I looked up an authentic recipe and I made it myself. And then I made my husband try it. I forced him to do it. And he actually liked it. So I'm like, see, you need to open up your horizons a little bit, okay? And so, yeah, just a little bit of a fun side story, I suppose, about my love for Indian food. And I actually need to make some of it now that I'm talking about it. I need to get some more of the chili seasonings that I need. I forgot the name of it, but it's a certain type of chili seasoning. Okay, I had to look it up. Kashmiri red chili powder. That is not spicy whatsoever, which was actually surprising to me. Not that I mind, okay? I love spicy food. I am a spicy food eater. I eat Takis. I even like tahini and chamoy on my pineapple and mango and stuff. Like, I love spicy food, guys. My husband, complete opposite. I'm like, I don't taste any, this doesn't have flavor. And he's like, yeah, it does. I'm like, oh, I guess I just burned my taste buds off because I liked spicy food so much, but that's fine. We're all different, okay? And so, yeah, I need to get some Kashmiri chili powder so I can make some chicken tikka masala because I just love it so much. If you've never tried it, try it. It's not spicy unless you make it spicy, okay? You can put more or less chili powder in there. And also, like I said, the Kashmiri chili powder is not spicy at all. If I want it to be spicy, I actually have to add cayenne pepper in there. And so, yeah, you can, if you make it yourself, even if you order it from an Indian restaurant, Indian restaurants have different levels of spice. One thing I learned, do not get Indian level spice unless you know you can handle it, okay? I like spicy food and I could not handle it. That is hot. That is so spicy. I think I burnt my tongue off, okay? It was so spicy. So don't get that. Get medium if you like a little bit of spice. Get hot if you like a lot of spice. Don't get Indian, okay? Unless you know you can handle it, trust me. I learned that one the hard way. Okay, I know you guys didn't come here to hear about my food endeavors throughout my life, but there's just one more thing I want to mention. I have always wanted to try a hot pot too, especially when Snowy Escape came out and you just have the whole family sitting around the hot pot and everybody cooks their own and then like puts whatever they want into their bowl and eat it, and they just do that the whole time. That just seems so fun and looks so delicious, and I just have always wanted to try it, but like I said, my husband is so picky. I don't have anybody to try it with. And it's like, what am I gonna do? Do hot pot by myself? I mean, I could, but it's not the same, you know? I want everybody to cook their hot pot stuff together. It just seems so fun. Looks so delicious. Okay, time to change the subject because I am getting hungry and you guys are probably getting hungry too. So I am working upstairs and this is where all the kids' rooms are. So I already got the master bedroom done. You've probably seen what I meant about the layout of the master bedroom. I really wanted to use platforms to make it a little bit interesting, but I had so many doors in there. One thing I learned when Snowy Escape came out is the fact that I guess a lot of Japanese houses has their toilet in a separate room from the rest of the bathroom, and usually the doors are not even in the bathroom itself leading to the toilet. It's like in a completely different area, like outside of the bathroom. And so I really try to do that in my Mt Komorebi builds or any Japanese house that I'm doing. I try to make it authentic. Keep in mind, listen, I've never been to Japan or anywhere over in Asia, or I've never been out of the US other than in the Caribbean, okay? And so I am not very educated when it comes to that, but I do try, if I have learned things throughout my life, that I keep that in mind. And so I did do that with the bathrooms. And so since there's so many doors in the bedroom, it made it hard to lay out the room with platforms, and it actually looked good. Like, I really didn't want the doors to be like on different levels. I think it looks a little goofy that way. And so I ended up having the area where the doors are on the ground level and then put a half wall in front of it so that behind the half wall I could have the different platform heights. And it's not terrible, it looks fine. It's just not the best. And so yeah, there is a computer in there though. I mean, it's completely functional. It's not my favorite. As much as I like the outside of this house, the inside is just not that good to me. I think I need to redo a build like this and really focus on the inside better. So we've got the teens room done, and I made his room kind of like snowboarding theme. It just seems like a teenager would love snowboarding, and so I wanted to put like different snowboarding things. I put a snowboard in general right there in front of his dresser. I don't have the tool mod installed. I really want to install it though, because there's certain things like the snowboard that I would have loved to have just placed against the wall, but you can't do that without the tool mod. I'm just too lazy, I guess. I just never download it, and so I ended up placing it right there in front of the dresser. So then the dresser is not going to be functional, but I figured once you guys download this, you could have that snowboard transferred into the teens inventory, and then it makes the dresser functional. And so yeah, other than that, that room is for a normal teenager. I put a computer in there. I put like a punching bag thing. It just seems like he'd be really interested in upping his fitness skills since he loves snowboarding, and he could take out his anger on there. And I put like a bag of laundry on top of his dresser. It looks like his mom gave him laundry to put away, and he just doesn't put it away like a normal teenager. And so yeah, I do love the way the teens room came out though. I think that came out so good. And we are now working on the child's room, and I put 2 kids in here. I figured they were twins, or they could just be super close in age, like almost like twins but not quite. And so I made their room, of course, Yamacon themed. Yamachan. I think it's Yamacon though, right? And I think Yamacon is the cutest thing ever. I love those decals on the wall where Yamacon is skiing. I think that is so adorable. And then the bedspread with Yamacon on there is just so cute. I paired it with the curtains from Island Living, the blue ones. I thought those looked so good in their room. And then I struggled with what to put over the beds on the wall. And I came across this tapestry. Listen guys, I don't know how to pronounce words half the time, so just bear with me. I placed the tapestry on the wall that was from high school years, and it has like a mountainous landscape in the background, and the colors honestly match that room perfectly. And so I ended up placing that over the bed, and I think it looks super good. I am now placing some imaginary friends, one of each, like the cutesy ones that I really like. One's the goofball, and the other one I think is creative, if I'm not mistaken. Well, honestly, you can actually make either one of those whatever personality you want it to be. You can actually edit the personality, which I love that about the imaginary friends. And I placed one on each bed, so the bed may or may not be functional for your kid to actually sleep on it. You can just move the imaginary friend right into their inventory, which is what we usually have to do anyways. I just wanted them to be placed somewhere in a cute way, and I love placing stuffed animals on the bed. It looks so realistic and I love it. And I wanted to make sure I placed 2 different skill building items for the kids in their room. I placed the mental table and the creativity table so that each of them has something to do at all times. And then of course there is that living room downstairs as well. And in the hallway upstairs where the staircase is, I almost put another computer, which I guess I could have, but I figured we already had one downstairs. The teen has one in his room. The parents have one in their room. So I figured, why would we need a 4th computer? I ended up just placing a foosball table up there. I don't know. I did not know what to do with that space, to be totally honest. I could have put another bathroom, but we already have 2, and I think that's gonna be perfectly fine. And so, yeah, I ended up putting a foosball table. So some sort of entertainment up there at least. I almost did a ping pong table, but I felt like a foosball table just made a lot more sense for like a family. If this was like a house full of like young adults for like university, or even just young adults that are like friends living together, I would have put the ping pong table so that they could have played juice pong. But since this is a family, I figured foosball just made a lot more sense. Honestly, now I'm thinking another good idea could have been sectioning that off and making another room. And the reason why I didn't is because it does have a balcony leading, like a back door leading to a balcony, but a perfect room would have been for like an elder, like the mom or the dad has one of their parents living here with the family, and their room is right there and they have their own back door. I feel like that probably would have been a really good touch. If you download this and you have a 3rd generation living here, that room or that area you could totally section off and make that into a separate room, or you can make it into a loft space too if you don't like the foosball, or if you don't have the pack that has the foosball table, which I think it comes with get together. If you don't have get together, then you could totally just make that into a loft or section it off into another bedroom. But speaking of the back balcony, I ended up putting a telescope out there, which I felt like was perfect. It only really needed the telescope, and that was really it. And I think it looks so good out there, and such a good little additional skill building item. I love the telescopes since we have them now. And so I added that, and that is pretty much it. We are done with the furnishings on the inside, and I'm now just working on the outside, finishing up, pretty much just doing terrain paint at this point on. And then I add some like outdoor lighting, but not very much of it, just enough, just a little bit, just a few just a few things just to lighten it up a little bit. Oh, and I also added one of those hopscotch things outside too. That was like the perfect touch for the kids too. I love the hopscotch, it's so cute. And other than that, there's really nothing else to say. Oh, I added 2 trash cans on the side of the house, and I added the wall hung mailbox in the front. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it at this point. I really hope you enjoyed today's build. Of course, if you did, please do not forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already. Also, comment down below whatever it is you would like to comment. Maybe it's your favorite thing about this build. Maybe it's something that you would like to see different next time. Whatever it is, feel free to comment. I absolutely love to read them. And so yeah. Oh, also share it with your friends if you have not already too. If they are simmers as well, definitely share it with them. I hope you all enjoyed this build. I hope you have an amazing day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.